Hey guys, we're going to do a review today on the Singfire 348 flashlight. This is a small stainless steel single AAA flashlight that's been out for a little bit, and on bottom here is the Singfire 348. Up top is the BLF 348, which is the special edition put out by Budget Light Forum. These are a really nice, inexpensive flashlight. They're only about $6 or $7 a piece, and they're really good quality for the money. They run really well, and they're just super nice flashlights. The only difference between them pretty much is the emitter and the LED. So, alright, so what do we got? I did some runtime testing for you, and basically what I found is that with the Singfire here, with an alkaline, you're going to get about 20 minutes of around 100 lumens, and then it's going to drop off very quickly at about 25 minutes. Down to almost nothing. A nickel metal hydride is going to give you about 40 minutes of pretty constant brightness, and then it's going to drop off pretty quickly at about right around the 50-minute mark, and then drop off down to pretty much nothing by 60 minutes. So you will get a longer run time on a rechargeable nickel metal hydride. So you're looking about 50 minutes is what you're going to get, or less than that with a regular AAA. Now the cool thing about these is they have two very different beam profiles. And one of the things I find the more and more I get into flashlights is that the beam is more important to me than lumens or runtimes or things like that. Because traditionally I don't use my flashlight more than a couple minutes each day, so I don't need super long runtimes. I don't need super high 1,000 lumen bright modes for a little pen light like this. I find the beam is what's more important to me, and these two have very different profiles, which is really cool because it helps you fill your needs just a little bit better. Now first up we have the Singfire, and this has a nice little hot spot to it. You can see it's got a bright hot spot and then a nice corona around it, and the beam is a kind of a cool white. It's a little bit of a bluish tint to it, which is very common with LEDs. And this is an XRE LED, so I just wanted to point that out. So you can see that profile. Nice round hot spot, round corona around it. Hopefully we focus here. Okay. Now the BLF is the opposite. You can see the hot spot is very diffuse, and when you back out it's pretty much gone. So there's really very little hot spot, and the color on this isn't as blue. It's really more of a warmer white, so it's got that little bit more of a yellow color as opposed to blue. Alright, so we're going to show you again. Singfire, see the bright hot spot and the corona around it. BLF, very interesting in differences in the beam profiles. Okay, so big deal. Who cares? Now, the major difference, I think, is what you're going to use this light for. Now, for me, if I were looking for something to keep in my car, I would keep the BLF because it doesn't have that hot spot. Typically, what I'm using in my car is to look up addresses or phone numbers or things like that, or to look for something I dropped. Nothing too extraordinary. So the BLF without that bright hot spot is really good, because if you are reading something, it doesn't wash out on white paper. Because what ends up happening is as you're trying to read something on paper and you put a bright flashlight onto it, it washes out and you have trouble seeing it. So the BLF is a little better at close-up work when you're trying to read a number, that kind of stuff. Whereas the Singfire has that hot spot. Now that Singfire is something more I might carry in my pocket. Something where if I need to see 10, 20 yards away, I need to see a pathway in front of me, I'm going up a stairwell, something like that. It gives you that little bit of a hot spot that gives you some distance, but it also has that nice corona around it to flood the area in front of you. So I think that Singfire is a little better of a walking around light, whereas the BLF, a little better for close-up work. So there is a difference, guys, and the more and more I use flashlights, the more and more I find that, like I said, it's not the lumens, it's the tint And it's the beam that tend to be more and more important to me. I think these are two cool flashlights that demonstrate that difference. And you can experiment with it for a grand total of like $15. And see, and you will see that as you use it more and more, you find that you tend to grab different flashlights for different purposes, because they do. You know, if I'm going out to, say, bring the garbage out, I'm going to bring something like that Singfire. You know, I got that hotspot, I can see a little bit further in front of me. And lots of times I don't end up bringing the garbage out until kind of late at night. We're not supposed to put it out till like after 8 o'clock or something like that the night before. It's ridiculous. But, you know, I find different flashlights, different things, and these two are pretty cool because they do demonstrate that difference between a more floody light and a light that throws a little bit. And being they're both in the same package, it makes for a very interesting way to try both out and experiment and see what you like tint-wise and beam profile-wise. So overall, I think they're both fantastic flashlights, just a matter of preference, but if you can, get them both. You won't regret it.